The theme of our talk today will be on the 4 great Mahavakyas contained in the Upanishads. The Upanishads are mystic revelations of the ancient seers of India, and they revealed profound truths of life. So an Upanishad, which is a mystic revelation, is to reveal to you certain fundamental truths of life which the human mind is not capable of knowing or fathoming with its own intellect. So therefore, these great truth statements regarding the fundamental truths of existence was revealed to mankind so that man can come to know what these truths are. He could live by them and attain to the final truth. The 4 Mahavakyas, Maha means the great, Vakya means statement. The 4 great truth statements contains the sum and bonum of the essence of the Upanishads. And each one of them reveal a great truth. It is the essence of the teachings. And these 4 great statements were contained in 4 different Upanishads. The first was in the Chandogya Upanishad. The teaching which was given there, the final teaching was TAT TVAM ASI. Thou art that which thou seekest with all thy heart. This truth is not known to mankind. So therefore, truth revelation has to come and open this out and inform you about something which you are unaware of. That you in your real nature art the divine which thou seekest with all thy heart. That is thy true being. And this teaching invariably means that the next Upanishad comes and tells what it really means is, I am that. I am the divine. Now that's a little too shocking to even imagine and feel that you are the divine. But that's what it really means and expresses itself. So that you can, in course of time, experience your divine nature. That's the final be-all and end-all of life. Then another Upanishad, the 3rd great statement, says, AYAM ATMA BRAHMAN. That is, this Atman is Brahman, the divine. Is none different from the divine, is verily the divine itself. This Atman. And the fourth, another Upanishads declares the nature of Brahman, Pragyanam Brahma. Brahman is consciousness. So it's not an inert substance, it is consciousness, the divine. Brahman is the word used for the divine in the Upanishads. So thus we find in 4 of these Upanishads, the essence of the truths have been taken out. Now we will explore them as to what they are. First of all, we find that the Mundaka Upanishad emphatically declares that there are 2 types of knowledges available in the world. One is the lower science, lower knowledge, and the other is the higher. The para and the apara. Para is the higher knowledge, and apara is the lower knowledge. And the lower knowledge is that which deals with the world, worldly knowledge, empirical knowledge. Knowledge developed and worked out by the human mind and the intellect with reference to all the human sciences. Physics, chemistry, astronomy, astrology, medicine, whatever science, worldly science is there, is the lower knowledge. But the higher knowledge, the paravidya, is that which reveals the nature of that which is unseen by the eyes, which cannot be perceived either by the mind or by your eyes, which cannot be grasped, which cannot be known by human knowledge. Along with its senses, mind and the intellect, it is that which cannot be comprehended. It cannot be even conceived as to what it is. It is an inconceivable something. But nevertheless it is, it exists. And there is no way by which one could explain as to its very nature. So that is the higher knowledge, with the help of which it is, you may call it, transcendental knowledge. A knowledge which transcends this empirical knowledge and empirical universe. And the Upanishads talk of this knowledge, this higher knowledge, by knowing which, by obtaining which, all that which has to be known can be known, is rendered automatically known. Thus, in the Chandogya Upanishad, in which the first great statement, TAT TVAM ASI, is mentioned there. TAT TVAM ASI means, you are that, thou art that divine, is being explained in that Upanishad. Now, I will illustrate this with a talk, with an example. There is a dialogue which is going on between the father and the son with respect to this knowledge. The young boy, at the age of 12, was sent to another preceptor for learning. After 12 years of learning, he came back. And as he came back, his mannerisms indicated that the father realized the son has not acquired the true learning. But nevertheless, the boy was full of pride and conceit. So he wanted to jolt him. So the father asked him a very pertinent question. It's very nice to see you, my dear boy. After all these 12 years of your hard study, but I wish to know whether you had acquired the knowledge of that principle by knowing which all that which has to be known is automatically known. Now the boy was shocked. He had not even heard of that knowledge. So he was wonderstruck. And then he said, oh, it's the first time he's hearing about it. And since this young boy was full of pride, he presumed that perhaps his teacher did not know it, therefore he didn't impart it to him. Because he, being a bright student, his teacher should have imparted that knowledge to him. He felt it so. But then he asked his father, now that you have raised the matter, could you explain to me what this knowledge is? What this knowledge is. So now the father explains it in 9 different ways in the Upanishads, in this particular Upanishad. And he says that the gist of it is that there is a principle which exists, which is, which pervades and permeates everything in this whole universe, and out of which, by knowing which, all that which is made by it, which has come out of it, gets known. Just as anything which is made of gold is known once gold is understood. But it is nothing but a gold indeed. Whether it be a ring or a necklace or a bracelet or any other golden vessel, the knower of gold knows that it is only gold which pervades it, which permeates it. So also, this principle is that which pervades and permeates every animate and inanimate substance in this whole universe. And it is that principle which not only pervades all substances, it is also present and found in the space too. Where there is space, it is that principle which pervades and permeates the entire cosmic space too. Anything which is there in the whole universe is permeated by this principle. So once one gets to know that, then everything which is in the universe gets known by a person. And that principle is said to be a consciousness. Consciousness. It is that consciousness which is here, it is present within you, it is present it is present here, it is present there, it is present everywhere, and it is also present within you, and at the same time it is nowhere. At the same time it is nowhere. Because that consciousness has no location. Has no location. But at the same time it is everywhere. It is everywhere. And it inheres in everything. And it is within you too. It is within you too. Within everyone. And that consciousness is the basis of your own existence. And you are that consciousness. You are that itself. So that is why it says, TAT TVAM ASI, you are that. You are that. But that is very subtle indeed. Because it occupies the space which is even subtle. It is there in cosmic space too. Now how do we appreciate this? In what manner can we appreciate that you are that itself? Now if we try to figure out that you as an individual, you have got three factors within you. One is your human consciousness. Your human consciousness. And second is you have a mind. And the third factor, which is there but which you are unaware of, is this consciousness. Is this divine consciousness, which is the very basis of your existence and which is also the basis of your human consciousness. Just like a nice illustration for this would be, you take a reflected sun, a sun which is reflected in the water. Now, the reflected sun which is found and seen in the water owes its existence to three factors. One is the reflected sun, then the reflecting medium called the water, and the third is the original sun, which is always there, the original sun. So the reflected sun's existence is basically due to the presence of these three factors. If there are million pools of water, you will get million pools of reflected sun. But the original sun is only one and the same. It is always there. So also, as far as you are concerned, you have got these three factors in your existence. One is your human consciousness, which we could say is the reflected consciousness or a refracted consciousness. Reflected or refracted by your mind, because you have a mind which plays the part like the pool of water which brings about that reflected sun. So also, because of the presence of this mind, you have this consciousness which is actually a refracted or reflected consciousness of the original consciousness, which is the divine, the original consciousness which has always been there. Now this state of affairs is also true with everything in the whole universe, with every being which is there in the universe, with every being. This factor is there. And including God the Creator. In God the Creator too, these three factors are present. One is the cosmic mind of God the Creator, cosmic mind of the God the Creator. And then you have that cosmic consciousness, which is called the consciousness of God the Creator, and then its original, which is the pure divine consciousness. So the divine consciousness is always there, but the cosmic mind of God the Creator brings about a cosmic consciousness called the Creator. And here the word TAT TVAM ASI. So what it implies is that the original consciousness which is there within you and the original consciousness which is there in the Creator, both are the same. Both are one and the same. The difference between you and the Creator is that in you there is an impure mind that you know very well. Your mind is a tainted mind. And the mind of the Creator is a pure mind. Is a pure mind. So as a result of it, it gets a pure refraction or reflection. So now, in this understanding, the background for both consciousness is the divine consciousness. And this divine consciousness is present and found in every single being or entity in the universe, whether it is animate or inanimate. And this consciousness is also present in the entire space in the cosmos. Wherever there is something in the space in the cosmos, in the universe, this consciousness is there. It has always been there. It has never changed. It is as it is, this consciousness. So therefore, it is in this manner that you are to understand that this consciousness being present there within you, as well as in everything, is your real identity. Your real identity. Your present human identity is an aberration, an error. It's an error. You may call it a happy error for the time being. Of course it is a happy error, because through this error you will discover the original. The origin. So this consciousness that you have is a shadow of a consciousness. It's a shadow of a consciousness. But like a shadow, like any object having a shadow, the object is the reality, and the shadow which comes out of that is a shadow. It has no reality. So also, as far as you are concerned, your human consciousness is a shadow of the original reality. This original reality is said to be the divine, and you are that itself. You are. So it is in this manner that one has to understand that you are the divine. So TAT TVAM ASI. So after all the teachings which have been given in the Upanishads and by the teachers, the mystic teachers, who finally come and declare to you that you are the divine, thou art that, which thou seekest with all thy heart. That is your real nature. That is your real nature. Then this statement is contained in the Chandogya Upanishad, and it is called Upadeshavakya. Upadesha means instruction. So now you have been instructed into this knowledge. It has been given to you. And the beginning of true religion begins here, with this understanding. Until you arrive at this understanding, you have not touched true religion. You are in the periphery of religion. You are in the periphery, because this is a great truth, that you are the divine. So once you have been instructed and educated that you are the divine, then the second factor comes into play. And that is, you have to begin feeling that you are the divine. You have to feel to yourself. Feel. You have to own your divine nature. You have to own it. So that is where the second great statement comes into the picture. The second statement. And that is AHAM Brahmasmi, which is found in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. The great Brihadaranyaka Upanishad talks of this, that AHAM Brahmasmi, I am Brahman the divine. Now the Upanishads use the word Brahman for the divine because it is a very apt word for that. It's only a word. which signifies what the divine is and sort of reveals the character and nature of the divine. Now the word AHAM BRAHMASMI, I am Brahman. So you have got to feel that to yourself now. You have to feel to yourself that I am. I am not this miserable human being. Thank God. But I am something wonderful. I am something. So therefore the scriptures come and educate you. They don't address you as sinners. No, no, not at all. The scripture. And the scripture, it says, the compassionate scripture comes and tells you, oh my dear child. That's the phrase that it uses. Oh my dear child. Thou art the blessed divine. It doesn't condemn you. It opens out the secret and tells you that you are that divine. Now own your divineship, your divine nature. So you've got to begin feeling to yourself. So first of all, you've got to be convinced of this truth. It takes a little time to be convinced. You know, to be comfortable with this idea, it takes a little time to become comfortable. Because it's such a shocking statement that you are shocked. So it takes a little time for you to become comfortable with this idea that I am the divine. And now, there's another mantra, or there's another statement also which says, Soham, that I am. You know the meaning of the word God in the Hebrew language? It means, I am that I am. I am. That you don't doubt. You very well know that you are. But then what are you? I am that. I am that. That's the meaning of the word God. So people use the word God not knowing what it means. Because whenever you use the word God, actually you are affirming your Godhood. Without knowing it, you are affirming it. So that is why it is said, do not use the word of God in vain. Because it has got a profound meaning. And the meaning is that whenever you use it, you are affirming your God nature. So, Aham Brahmasmi, I am the divine. I am, and begin to feel that I am the divine. Then what is this Brahman, the divine? It is said, the very Sanskrit root meaning itself brings out its nature. Brihatvat, Brinhanatvat, Brahmaniti. Brihat. Brihat means that which is vast, infinite, that which has no limits. It is as vast as the universe. The universe, you know, is vast and expanding. But this is as vast as the universe, which is expanding. And where is the universe expanding? It is expanding where this is. Where this is, that's where the universe is expanding. It can't expand beyond that. So it's expanding where it is. Where this is. So that's why the word, and it has no limits. It has no limits. That's why the word Brihat is used. It is vast. It is vast. And just imagine, that is your being. That is your existence. That's why we said, you are here, you are there, and you are everywhere. This consciousness is everywhere, and yet it is nowhere. That's its nature. So, this and you have been told also that God's beingness is everywhere. So naturally, when God's beingness is everywhere, it also presumes that it has to be within me. It's very natural. If it is everywhere, it has to be within me. So if it is within me, can I be different from that? No, I cannot. I cannot be different. So I am, in my true essence and in my true being, am the divine. Though I do not know that. And the purpose of life is to know that. That is the supreme purpose of life. To experience that and to realize your true being. So therefore, that which is vast and infinite. And then at the same time, Brahmanatvat, Brihatvat, Brahmanatvat. Brahmanatvat means that which is the support of this universe. The divine is the support and the basis and the substratum of this universe. It upholds the universe. Wherever the universe is, there the divine is. Divine's existence is. So this is this divine. And you have got to feel to yourself, feel within yourself that you are this blessed divine, this divine. So once you begin, that's part of your practice to feel. And once you feel that you are the divine, then all that you have to do is forget yourself as a human individual, and with this understanding and feeling, keep on living and functioning in the world. Keep on living with this awareness. So maintaining this awareness, having this awareness within yourself, keep on living. But don't tell anybody. Because if you tell people, they'll lock you up. They'll lock you up. They say, man is crazy. So this is something very personal. And you have this knowledge and the feeling and the understanding and live and function in the world. Then you know what happens? By and by, this awareness which is being gradually maintained by you, this awareness of your divine nature begins to gradually take hold of your consciousness and consumes it, consumes your consciousness, fills it up, and then your worldly awareness and worldly consciousness and worldly awareness that I was this individual, that fades away, and your consciousness gets saturated with this awareness of your divine nature, and then one fine day, it so consumes your consciousness that one fine day, as it saturates it, then the divine experience will take place. Give it time. Just like a seed. You know, a seed has to become a mustard seed, which is so tiny, has to become a tree. And this is that example which was given by Jesus in the gospel. Like a mustard seed, which is the smallest of seeds. But when it sprouts and comes up, it becomes a mighty tree. And in this mighty tree, many birds and fowls find shelter. And so also this little consciousness of yours, this awareness, which was the seed, the spark. This is called the spark. You have been sparked now. You have been divinely sparked. Now it's left to you to keep it the ignition going. And keep it as a roaring flame. So when you keep this spark of awareness as a roaring flame, what happens is, this spark of awareness, it consumes all your worldly awareness that you have, and worldly feelings and attributes and everything worldly that you have, it begins to consume that. And this spark now becomes a roaring flame, like a roaring flame, and takes hold of your consciousness and consumes all your worldly awareness. All your worldly consciousness get consumed. And when it gets totally consumed, then only this roaring flame of awareness, which has saturated your consciousness, is left there. And then that too, that leads into that experience, the divine experience. It leads to that. So therefore, you are to feel this. So this is called Abhyasa Vakya. Abhyasa Vakya means this AHAM Brahmasmi, the second Mahavakya, is meant for practice. And the practice is to practice. How to practice? Very simple. Just maintain the awareness. That's all. Just maintain the awareness. Happily go about functioning. Happily you go about functioning. in the world, do everything that you have to do, function very naturally, but this awareness is always there. Is always there. And if somebody asks you, who are you? Now you will even forget yourself, that you will stumble and fumble to say who you are, because you are now losing your identity. Isn't it? It won't be easy for you to give a reply. Because you wish to. That is why it is said, never ask the source of a Swami, of a holy man, or of any holy man, because you know not from where he has come and what his name is, because he has no name now. He has lost his identity. So that is why they are called Babas. So people coin a name and give him. They coin a name, but he doesn't reveal his name because he is losing his identity, and he doesn't care for his human identity. He is losing it. Who cares what that old name was? So thus, in this manner, as you begin to maintain this spark of awareness, then this is that practice that you have to go through in your normal life. In your normal life, you can go through it anywhere. Maintain this awareness at any time, anywhere, and should be done. Then, the third great statement is called Anubhavavakya, the statement of experience. Anubhava is experience. So once you have had this divine experience that I am Brahman, the divine, then you turn around and say, I am Atma Brahman. This Atman is Brahman, the divine. This Atman. Atman means this self, the true self of yours, is Brahman. Brahman which is everywhere. So this is a statement of experience. I am Atma Brahma. Now this self has got 4 features in it. 3 on an empirical level, on an empirical human level. In the waking state also, there is a self there functioning. Your human self is functioning on 3 levels. Your human self is functioning on 3 levels. On the waking level, the waking state, the dream state, and the deep sleep state. In all these 3 states, your human self is operating there. But your true self, which is at the background of these 3, which is always there, is your true self. Is your true self, which is the basis of these 3. And these 3 fluctuate. The waking state fluctuates into the dream, and the dream fluctuates into the deep sleep, and then it keeps on fluctuating. This is called your empirical self. Your empirical self. But your empirical self is not the Brahman. Your true self, which is the 4th, 3 plus 1, and the 4th is the basis of these 3, which has always been there. And it is that self, which is your true self, which is Brahman the divine. Which is Brahman the divine. Now, in the empirical state, when you are associated with this gross body, and with your mind, you are called the waking individual, the waking self. When you are associated with your subtle body and your mind, you are called the dream self. When you are associated with your, shall we say, your seed state in deep sleep, then you are called the sleeping individual, the sleeper or the sleeping individual. So in your normal life, you have got these three selves operating on the empirical level. But this is so because you have got identified and involved. Remember this. Because of your identification and conjunction and involvement with your waking body and with your dream body, that you have this experience that you are a waking individual and a dream individual and a dreamer. Now, once you become detached from it, to become detached. When you become detached from your waking body, from this gross body, gross waking physical body, as you become detached from that, and become detached also from the subtle body, in the dream state, as you become detached from that too, and from the causal body too, which you experience in deep sleep, from these three, as you become detached, you will find your self-recovery taking place. Your self-recovery. That is why it is said that you should be detached from everything in the whole universe. Become detached. Because once you become detached, you are now getting your release from what you have got attached to. And your self-recovery is taking place. So that your true self is that self, which is said to be the Atman, is that which is unattached to anything and to everything, which is totally detached from everything, which is by itself. How wonderful it is to be by yourself. Just by yourself. So when you are by yourself, without a body, without being attached to anybody, and you know what a nuisance it is if you get attached to something, and without being attached to anything, to any body, your gross body or subtle body, or without being attached to anything, you are what you are in your pristine, pure, natural state. And this is what is called as the liberated state. This is called liberation. You have heard of the word liberation, to be liberated. To be liberated from what? From your attachment. To be detached from your attachment. That is called liberation. And when that happens, you are your true self, your true being. And this is the Atman. And it is this Atman which is said to be the divine. AYAM ATMA BRAHMAN. So, this third great truth statement talks of this. How to be, in a practical way, to be detached from everything in life and to be a witness. So you become more and more detached as you witness the operations which are going on around you. As you witness the operations of your bodily functions, of your mind functions, and the operations which are going on in the world, all that is going on in the world, you observe it as a detached witness. Like a witness consciousness, you observe the panorama of life around you, and also your panorama of life going on in your mind too. So as you keep on observing it as a witness, you will gradually get detached. As you get more and more detached, you will get your release from what you have got entangled into. And then when that takes place, you will find that you exist without a body. You will exist without a mind. You will know everything without a mind, spontaneously know everything when that situation arises. So that is why it is said that once you obtain this knowledge, and have its experience, then all that which has to be known gets automatically known. Then, the fourth Mahavakya, the fourth great statement, found in the Aitreya Upanishad. So the third one was found in the Mandukya Upanishad, which spoke of this Ayam Atma, this Atman is Brahman. Now in the Aitreya Upanishad, it gives the nature of Brahman. What is Brahman? And it says Prajyanam Brahma. Now we are coming to something very crucial. This is the key to the whole thing. Prajyanam Brahma. Consciousness is Brahman. This consciousness, with a capital C, not the human consciousness, but this consciousness, in this consciousness, the subject-object dichotomy is not there. Remember this. In our human consciousness, we have I and you, subject-object. I and the universe. Subject, I the subject, the universe the object. So this dichotomy is there, duality is there. But in this divine consciousness, there is no duality. That is why it is said to be non-dual. And in order to arrive at this non-dual experience, which transcends time, which transcends space, you have to maintain actively a non-dual state in your consciousness. You have to maintain a non-dual consciousness, actively practice it. When you are able to actively practice this non-dual consciousness or awareness, then you are now a real Vedanta. This is called Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, wherein this non-dual awareness is being maintained by you, in which the subject, your mind does not break out into a subject-object dichotomy, but there is only non-dual awareness there, non-dual awareness, constantly maintained by you, constantly maintained, non-dual awareness. The feeling that I am a subject and the feeling that there is an object outside, both of these feelings tend to disappear. Only the awareness is there. It's a non-dual awareness. And this non-dual awareness is to be maintained. And then, this non-dual awareness has got something very interesting. You will find that when duality arises, I and you, I and the universe, when they arise from somewhere, isn't it? They arise from somewhere, from the ground, from the ground of your consciousness it arises. The ground of your awareness of your consciousness is here, and they sprout out like this. They arise, the subject-object, duality or polarity or diversity, it arises. So there is a ground from which it arises. And that ground, if you get to that ground from which the subject-object duality arises, and there you have got to the source of the non-dual awareness. Non-dual awareness. So you are arriving at the non-dual awareness or non-dual consciousness at that point. And because it is from there that duality springs up. So therefore, from where it springs up, there you have to get to. You have to arrive at, to get to the non-dual awareness. And in that non-dual awareness, as you get to the non-dual awareness, you don't know what it is. You know the duality, the dual awareness. That is why you want to once again get back as quickly to the duality or the dual awareness, because that has been your habit. But the non-dual awareness is something new to you. It is unknown to you. And not only is it unknown to you, it is at the moment something which is, if you can use the word, is unknown. It's full of darkness. Full of darkness there. Because it is unknown. There is ignorance there. So, since there is ignorance there, you don't know what it is. Because it is from that point that ignorance sprang up. Ignorance sprang up from that point. And when ignorance sprang up from that point, then duality arose. But this ignorance, also this ignorance, wherein you know nothing, it's darkness there. The unknowing state, it's darkness there. And where did this darkness spring from? Where does this ignorance arise? The source of this ignorance. So as you keep on penetrating into this darkness, then you will arrive at the light at the end of the tunnel. Haven't you heard of that expression? The light at the end of the tunnel? But you have to go through the tunnel for some time until you get to the light at the other end of the tunnel. But now you are entering the tunnel of darkness. And the beginning of the tunnel of darkness is the beginning of the non-dual awareness. The non-dual awareness, that's the beginning there. But then you have to go into the tunnel of darkness. Pierce the tunnel of darkness with patience over a period of time. Intensely. And as you traverse into that darkness there, because it's unknown territory, there's unknown territory there. Nothing is known there. But as you go venture into it and proceed on, you will get to the source. At the end of the light, at the end of the tunnel, the light is there. And that is that consciousness which it is talking of. So in order to get to this divine consciousness, you have to get to this non-dual state in the beginning and enter into the tunnel of darkness. That's the beginning point. So this is the practice which has to be gone through and practiced by every earnest spiritual seeker who aspires to get to this state. Who aspires to this state. So with all use of your will, of your powerful will, you have to now get into this state, non-dual awareness. So therefore this non-dual awareness has to be practiced and maintained. Has to be maintained until you become comfortable with it. You have to become. It has to become natural to your nature. Because now the awareness that you have is the awareness of duality. The duality is there. This awareness is there. This is your... Now you have to replace this awareness of duality with a non-dual awareness. So in this non-dual awareness, you are not important. You are not significant. No other things around you which you see and perceive are important and significant. You just see them. You just experience them. Just interact with them. But all through, this non-dual awareness is being strongly maintained by you. Strongly and firmly maintained. With all focused attention. With all attention. So therefore, it is this Pragyanam Brahman, that Brahman is consciousness. And this consciousness is non-dual. And by the practice of this non-dual awareness, you will be led to the original consciousness, which is your true nature, which is here, which is there, which is everywhere, and at the same time, which is nowhere. When I use the word nowhere, means it's nowhere in space, because it transcends space, it transcends time, and it is eternal. Because it transcends time, it is eternal. Since it transcends space, it is everywhere. And it is, at the same time, it is nowhere. But consciousness is there. So consciousness is your nature, is your true being. Om Tat Sat.
It's a tall order, I would imagine, to get to this state of consciousness. Would you agree with that? And
it is a tall order, but it is what you are expected to go through.
oh, well, maybe so, but I think. Would you agree that there are very few individuals who get there? Perhaps examples would.
Don't worry about very few individuals.
Would be the Buddha people.
Well, the point is this: you aspire for it. That's what matters.
Yeah.
Don't worry about few individuals here and there. You know, no one knows how many.
Well, I think it'll be a long time before I get there.
It doesn't matter. Make a beginning.
I'll leave it at that.
Yes.
You mentioned the word Baba, I think. I think I heard you mention the word Baba when it came to, maybe I misheard it. When it came to
Baba.
Baba, when it came to losing this identity.
Yes, that's
the
right.
village consciousness.
That's right.
Could you explain that a little
Yes.
bit more?
Yes, when you begin to lose your identity, right? And when you don't wish to express your identity, then others have to call you by some name. And they may call you by any name. They may call you as Baba, or Fakir, or whatever it is. They may call you by some nomenclature. But you yourself will not wish to, because you know that very well that I am not this individual now. So if they ask you, who are you, you can't answer that question. Because you can't answer that I am this individual by this name. And at the same time, you can't answer that anything else.
So you say you are known as Baba?
I don't say I am known, but others may call you as a Baba. Others. So in India, the word Baba is very frequently used for sadhus, for hermits in India. For hermits in India. It's a thing which they frequently use all over India.
If, as you said, four truths of Upanishads could not be perceived or understood by human intellect and have been revealed,
Yes.
how were they revealed and to whom?
Yes, very good question. They were revealed by God the Creator unto holy people in the world, not to any Tom, Dick and Harry, but to highly evolved human beings with a pure mind, because otherwise it will get distorted. It was revealed to them as fundamental truths of life. Just as Moses was given the 10 Commandments, so also all these truths were given to the holy people. So it's not a product of the human mind. Either they heard it, or they perceived it.
Could you once again just explain the difference between the divine consciousness and the God the Creator?
Yes, very good question. God the Creator has got a cosmic mind. Cosmic mind. While, so since it has a cosmic mind, the consciousness associated with this cosmic mind is called God the Creator, which is a pure mind. While you are associated, your consciousness is associated with your human mind. So therefore you are the creator. There's a creation. But the divine, which is the Brahman, transcends the creation, wherein creation doesn't exist there. So that divine, we can say that it does, the question of cosmic mind also does not arise. Because to have a cosmic mind, there must be a cosmos. In the divine, there is no cosmos. The cosmos collapses and disappears. All the three disappear. When you get to your divine nature, three things collapse and disappear. One is you, of course, you collapse and disappear. Because you are really a shadow. The second thing which collapses and disappears is the creation, the universe. And if the creation disappears, the creator also disappears. All the three. So whenever the word God is used, we must know the distinction. When God is used with reference to creation, then you are addressing God, you are meaning God the Creator. And when the word God is used with reference to the, shall we say, the final truth, that is the Godhead, and that is the divine.
So would God the Creator be analogous to Vishnu? Or
No, no. This is a Hindu concept, which comes into Hindu religion. We are not concerned of religion. We are not interested in Mr. Vishnu, Mr. Brahma, Mr. Shiva and Mrs. Shiva. We are not bothered with that. This is Hindu religion. Just God the Creator.
You mean the ultimate?
The ultimate is the divine.
Oh.
Is that part of perhaps divorcing oneself from corporeal body and slowly going through the process of being one with our divine conscience?
Yes, consciousness.
If it's so laborious, if it is so laborious, like acquiring a skill, you have to practice it.
That's right.
Why is it advocated to be undertaken?
It is advocated for those people who want to get back to their divine origin. If you are satisfied and content in being this human being, that is your privilege. But if you aspire for God and to get to the truth, then it is advocated for them, for those people. Yes.
Am I right in thinking to these stages to get to enlightenment or to become enlightened? It seems to me it's a series of deaths. You mentioned the word death. Many deaths, the death of the personality and awareness.
Right.
And it seems to me there are layers of, or levels of death. Could you say more about
Yes. To begin with, you have to die to your desires, die to your worldly wants, you have to die to your ego, you have got to die to your... you can have a functional ego. There's a difference. You can die to your ego, but you can have a functional ego. That's perfectly all right, because you have to function. Now, you can't physically die to your body, right? But you can be detached from the operations of the body. A little detached. So normally people are very much involved with their bodies. So now you train yourself to be a little detached from that. So that you are releasing your human identity or your human bondage.
Is this the speaker before the... Sorry, the lady that asked the question made the point before the... I can't remember the name. Anyway, she made a good point about this journey and why it should be undertaken and all that, and stress, as you did, that it's a hard journey going through the dark tunnel. But one of the fundamental principles of theosophy is that it's happening automatically anyway, over ages and ages, thousands, long time.
Of course.
By the process of evolution. So it's happening automatically. Perhaps you don't need to aim for it. Perhaps it will, theosophy says it will happen over time, eons of time, automatically anyway.
It is happening all the time.
Right.
Who doesn't doubt that? But the point is, a time comes when you want to hasten and accelerate the process, and when you are earnestly questing for it. When you are questing for it, then you will accelerate the process. If you are questing for things of the world, then it will take its own sweet time. Yes.
Swami, you've been talking a lot in your talks today and indeed at other occasions about this idea of detachment.
Yes.
In India and other places, there's been a long and rich tradition of people forsaking the worldly life and becoming monks, men and women. There's also been a tradition, I believe, in India where men in particular, when they reach middle age and have raised their families and have done their business careers, go off and seek a more spiritual, holy and solitary life. Is this still happening to the same extent, or are people in India starting to eschew that and go against that idea now?
Well, the infrastructure of Indian society still permits and promotes individuals living the life of a hermit, or individuals leaving their homes and entering ashrams and monasteries. That culture is still prevalent. You too also had this culture in the Western world, but it sort of died off. Then in middle age also, since a structure is available, even in middle age or old age, they still can do it. But don't imagine, I'm using a very strong word, but don't imagine that all those who so undertake this enter that sphere out of true detachment. I would say the proportion could be 1 in 100 could be true, truly detached. 1 in 100 persons who so undertake could be truly detached and who are strongly longing to get to God or arrive at that point. The others, for whatever reasons, because the structure is available, they gravitate into it. Here also, if a structure was available, you will find hundreds getting into it. Right? So it's in the infrastructure of Eastern society. You find that in many of the Eastern countries, it is still there. But today, in the Western world and otherwise too, if this longing is very strong in your heart, then where you are staying, you can make that into a hermitage and live your life. Your place of residence becomes your ashram or your hermitage, which would be the best and the most natural way to live. Today, in the modern context, especially for the Western world, your place of residence is your hermitage, and your heart is your altar, and your body is your temple.
If one chooses the quest
Yes.
and thereby deliberately enters the long dark tunnel,
Deliberately?
enters the long dark tunnel,
Yes.
where the light is at the
Yes.
end, presumably that's a deliberate action of
Yes.
entering
Yes.
this long dark tunnel. Is there anything, and I understand it's like purification, of
Gone through earlier,
gone through earlier before entering
that's
the
right.
tunnel?
Otherwise you cannot enter that.
Oh, right.
You see, you will be at the door of the dark, you'll be at the gate. You'll be at the gate of the tunnel. You see, for you to proceed further, you can proceed further, but you'll be proceeding slowly, but as your purification takes place in life, psychological purification, then you will begin to proceed further and further inwards.
What would you advocate can help with the purification? For example, non-meat eating, meditation, chanting. Would you?
Yes,
advocate?
meditation. Meditation is the most important thing. Keep your heart, your feelings in a good state, your emotions, and keep your mind in a good, healthy state, and live a noble, righteous life, and that's all that you have to do. And if you have got any strong negativities, negative impulses, clear it out. That will help. Because that will block you. So clear it out.
Swami, you mentioned the three states that we have, which is the waking state, the dream state, and the deep sleep state.
Yes.
How does one control their mind or their mental functions in a dream state? And is there any relevance to those dreams as well?
In the dream state, you can't control it. It just, the dream is another, shall we say, energy in the mind. But when you come out of dream, don't take it too seriously.
Okay.
But what is important is, in the waking state, there you can control the operations and functions of your mind and train yourself to be in this non-dual awareness that we spoke about, which in turn will help to control so many other things. That non-dual awareness is the most powerful clearing operation that you can undertake. It clears of many a negativity which is there.
when the lady talked about purification,
Yes.
the first two steps of the 8-limb tree yoga talks about yama and niyama,
Yes.
do no harm to any living.
Yes.
Does this then mean to be purified you must be a vegetarian?
Not at all. You can't tell a Eskimo to be a vegetarian. Can you? No, you can't. In the olden days in Europe, it was snowbound for 6 months. When they get vegetarian food, today you can because of transportation. But 50 years ago, you couldn't, or 100 years ago, it was not available. So you have to eat what was available. But, yes, vegetarian food is light food. Is light food. And therefore it's conducive. It is healthy food, light food, and which keeps your operations of the mind and the body in a better state. Therefore vegetarian food. But don't imagine vegetarian food means just to eat vegetarian stuff, vegetables. It also means a complete diet, like having lentils. A vegetarian must invariably have lentils at least 5 times a day. 5 times a week. I'm sorry, 5 times a week. So you don't prepare lentils once a day and leave it at that. Because this is the protein substitute which you neglect. So proteins, of all types of proteins, take a little bit. There isn't a meal in India wherein we don't have proteins. Every day we have proteins as a meal. Those who are vegetarians. So therefore, proteins, any type of proteins is there, just make your proteins.
Is it possible to encourage children, young children, to attain a state of non-dual consciousness?
Yes. They will take it as a game. You could encourage them to sit down quietly. Tell them now, don't think. Don't stop thinking. And then you will be in tune with God. You must explain that also. Then you will be in tune with God, because when you think, you are in tune with whatever you think. If you think of an apple, you are in tune with an apple, right? If you think of an ice cream, you are in tune with the ice cream. And if you don't think of anything, then you are naturally in tune with God. Children will like it. You see? You can, but then, for them to get into it, you have to get into it. The parents have to get into it.
Yes.
Right? Or the teachers have to get into it, the school teachers. Then we can have these prayers in all the schools, because these prayers are not related to any religion. Right? So there won't be any opposition, and the children will become more calmer and quieter. So it is a healthy thing. So we are introducing, actually you are introducing true religion, not the mythical religion.
Can you do that without mentioning God?
Yes, you can. But then the children would like to know why you are doing it.
Yeah.
Then what are you going to tell them? You can't tell them, you can't philosophize too much to them.
No.
You can't tell them, well, look here, you will get in touch with your true self. The boy will turn around and say, I'm quite satisfied with myself.
Well, yes, I'm thinking about the situation where some parents might object if you did that with the children and talked about
Well,
God.
you've got to explain to the parents what God means.
Well,
Well, tell them this much, that what God means is not a Mr. God somewhere here and there. But the word God means is nothing but perfected state of existence. Perfected state of existence, and that is a consciousness. That is a consciousness. And that is what God is. Normally, the word God has got an anthropomorphic or a primitive idea in the minds of people because religions have come and polluted the idea of God. All religions have polluted it. So that is why people have a primitive idea of the word God. So what God means is a perfected, benign, blissful, loving state of existence.
So you could say, think of being happy.
Happy state. Well, you can't have happiness there when you are in a state of silence. But it's a glorious state of existence.
Thank you.
So what has to be done is the word God has to be re-explained without religious connotations. So just say God is perfect, God is good, and God is love. It's loving beingness. So you could tell this much to the children. Be in a state of loving silence.
Yes.
Loving silence. Silence and lovingly be in that state.
Yeah.
That's sufficient. Instead of using the word God.
Thank you.
And then we have to be in that loving state. Feel that loving state. If they ask why, then tell them it is full of love. That state is full of love.
Can I ask you, if you mentioned vegetarianism, so celibacy, is this advocated or is this again?
Yes, celibacy is a technical question in the whole issue.
Technical answer is?
Huh?
The technical answer is?
That's,
The technical answer is?
yes, it's a technical question, and when the person becomes very serious with the whole thing, automatically he will get into it. Automatically. So don't enforce it forcibly. It should become natural. And it will become natural over a period of time. But it's not to be rigidly bottled up. It's only when it is forcibly bottled up in the world that you get neurotic problems.
Are there any more questions? Just about 4.